Decided to make a video. Got a couple of days until my GED, and I wrote another probably page or two of notes, so I got like 20 pages to look over and sort of skim through. And I think what I thought would possibly be very good is just to go ahead and write down what's important. But I have a separate journal that, as I'm going through the YouTube videos, I do the mathematics best as I can, statistically what my best chances are, what I can figure out, what I remember. And like I tried taking maybe like a day off, but usually I think every day I studied. But I think maybe the day that I think I took off, I studied maybe 30 minutes. But today I've studied for even 30 minutes, maybe an hour at most. But as I'm going through the same videos again and some questions, the only thing that's bothering me so much is I can't recall or feel like I can retain the information like I used to. And I don't know, it feels like it feels like more of the fact that they shot something into my brain, left side of my hemisphere, caused me to not like forget or not be able to remember something. A lot of material. I don't know what it was, because it's been, several days, and it feels like I'm not able to retain the information or have trouble learning. As I'm going through the questions again, I'm still going through very successfully, but I know that I can pass this, and I know that I can pass this, and I know that I would have done a lot better. But it's very sort of frustrating, because I'm trying to study and they're not letting me. Like shooting something into my brain, and here I am studying, making 20-page notes, and I have to wait 60 days if I fail. And I get 3 chances, which I'm not going to probably study for 60 days. I got to go look for a job. And then I'll have to restudy everything all over again, which would take me, I've now studied more time than it is if I went to school. When you take a 6-week course at Richland College, what they used to have, you go through in 6 weeks, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, from 6 to like 9 o'clock, you study all the material. You go through language arts, history, science, and all that. And so you really only spend about maybe 7 actual school days, 3 hours a day, learning the material. So I've studied way more time than I was in class, and just specifically on math. And I recall the teacher saying that, that I was going to have to learn, you have to know algebra. And because a lot of people in the class were having problems too, and they were saying, oh gosh, I don't know if I was going to pass. And he was positive about all the students when he was talking and writing on the dry erase board, saying, you should do fine. You'll definitely know how to do algebra, and you have to definitely know that, or at least some of that, in order to pass. So, because a lot of the more sophisticated questions are for like the college credit ready. Because even if I pass it, if I ever take whatever courses, which won't be a degree, you still, I think, have to take prerequisition courses, like a full course of, you have to take an exam to see where you are academically, and if you fail, then you have to take some sort of class. I don't know if you can keep taking the test there, requisition test, until you pass and say, okay, you're ready, college ready. Because they want to get you college ready, even if it's at a community college. Because to my understanding, the way that it works to even transfer to a university is that you have to do some amount of years and months and really high grades in the community, and then you can transfer, even if it's possible then. But usually in a GED, you have to have community college at least probably 2 years before you could ever transfer to a university. But that's never going to happen. But I think that as far as the test goes, it's frustrating, because I feel like I'm forgetting a lot of this material, and it seems too complicated. It's frustrating, because I know that I know if I was in a better environment where I was being beaten electronic devices, I think I'd be able to retain. Because I felt like just a few weeks ago I was collecting a lot of information and getting them right, and I memorized a lot of this. So um, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see what I can, what grade I get, and I just feel like I'm sort of forgetting because I already took I only studied for like 30 minutes today, so I'm gonna go over all these questions again, and gonna go through a series of videos, or like hour-long videos, or 30-minute video, and I'll go over the same questions, but sometimes I won't remember the answers, and see how well I can memorize the methods. I'm not talking about the answers, but the methods, because there's so many different formulas and systems that you have to do for expressions or fractions, or simplifying things, or just answering it. And one of the things that's very confusing as well is that I remember asking this question as well, is that a lot of the times when you're looking at the question, you can't tell whether it's a minus, it's a saying subtract this number, or it's a negative number. So it'll be like 8 plus, it'll be like, 8 parentheses, 8 plus parentheses, 7 plus 3 plus, 7, and then it'll have like, it won't have like a negative sign, a minus sign. It'll have a minus sign, but the distance between a minus sign and a negative sign, when it's being written on the screen, you can't tell. Like, it's very difficult. Like, is it saying minus or is it negative? And you hear the lady say, "Oh no, you have to wait for the person to say, oh, it's negative. Oh no, it's positive." Like, you can't there's no way you could tell. Like, if you looked at it, you would think negative, or you would think positive. You have to basically guess. So I don't know. I got a lot of notes down, and just trying not to get too frustrated, because I'm like, I should be able to remember this, and I feel like I'm forgetting a lot of this material. But I'm not able to retain it as good as I used to at all. They're beating. I don't know what they shot into my brain, but it felt like something they shot into my brain while I was in that taking the test. It feels like it altered my ability to even comprehend or think things and process thought after, a day or two after, and I'm studying, and it's just like I'm reluctant to be able to retain or want, it's not like want, but like reluctant to be able to retain the information for me to pass this test and get this job completed. I don't know really what to say, other than I have an exam this Saturday. I'm going to the test center at a different location because they were harassing me at this location. They were running inside the place, and it was just very frustrating because, hopefully this place there's not going to be a bunch of people harassing me or beating electronic devices, just so that I have at least a fair chance to take the exam test in a safe environment without being harassed or threatened, or malicious staff members playing lusting sex fantasies around me and in my environment. And I'm not interested in that. I was at this location, and this transgender is reluctantly giving me this sex look in her eyes, like I don't even know who this person is, and I'm not interested. This is a test center, this is an education center. This is specifically only for tests, not for you to sexually lust at me in your fantasies because I got raped by a transgender that's probably not even alive anymore. And then this other person started coughing, and like they were just focused on me, not doing, they were just to see what they can get out of me or do to me. And I got electrocuted a few times by another person over in the corner that starts coughing and then just started electrocuting me. And the staff member just kept on charging at me, like going inside and then coming at me where I can't focus and, get on with the test. And as soon as they shot me with it, if they shot like me in the side of my left side of left side of my hemisphere of my brain, that couldn't allow me to think or process thought, maybe within the first 10 minutes of me being there. And I heard some other guy that was on the other side of the wall, and they began training me, and he goes, "Yes," and he starts, like giving orders. So I don't know if they're playing spiritual fantasy with my dead sister, but that's exactly what they knew what they were doing, and I'm not interested. I'm trying to take a test and get this, what I'm supposed to be doing, not listening to what you want to apply by force, and this is what they're doing to me. I don't know who's responsible for this and what the situation is, but like I said, I'm gonna try to go to this other. It's at an insurance company, office insurance company next door to Soccer City, I think it is, and hopefully I can, at least if I fail it, then at least I had a fair chance. I can see where my academics are, but I know that I feel so very strongly that I should be able to pass this test. That I have at least a very good chance to passing it. If I scored a 142 last time, without any studying, and then I scored a 142 with them harassing me, and I couldn't even get to pass question 21, 22. And I guessed on the rest of them, and I gained a 142. I know that I should be able to pass with probably even college credit if it was a fair chance, but, I was hoping to at least make a higher grade output on this math test and all the other tests I took, but I'll have to wait and see. Test is at 2 o'clock Saturday.